You're watching Building the Franchise with the New England Patriots, only on the MBL Network.
It's time for episode number 7. We're at the end of season number 19. Huge congratulations to Lip for winning the Super Bowl with his Steelers. But we don't have time to focus on that right now. We have to focus on these New England Patriots. We fell short of the playoffs last year. The Jets beat us for the division. So we have some work to do. We have some things we need to fix in the offseason to be able to be a playoff contender next year. The biggest news for the New England Patriots heading into this offseason was the 5th all-time passing leader with 61,000 yards and the 4th all-time passing touchdowns leader with 450 touchdowns. Tom Brady retired immediately following Week 17. And even though the majority of the team knew that it was coming, he had been talking about it a lot in the locker room throughout the season that, the games were taking a little bit more of a toll on him than they used to. So not making the playoffs and especially not winning a Super Bowl really kind of pushed Brady over the edge. He decided to call it quits, and he'll no doubt be a Hall of Famer in the future. The losses for the Patriots did not stop there, though. Superstar linebacker Dante Hightower decided he did not want to accept a contract from the Patriots and decided to test free agency. And backup right end Geno Grissom was also not re-signed by the team. He's going to free agency as well. Centers Barrett Jones and Kyle Friend, as well as wide receiver / kick returner DeAndre White, all re-signed with the Patriots for at least a one-year deal, extending them through season 20. At the beginning of the free agency period, strong safety Richards, right outside linebacker Freeney, and right guard Myers Jr. were all released from the Patriots. They just didn't seem to be a fit on what we were trying to do here in the future, so we're going to go ahead and move on from them and hit free agency very lightly and really focus on the draft. With the key losses at the beginning of the offseason, coupled with the team getting older in certain positions, we're really not looking to build our team through free agency at all. We're definitely going to go towards the draft, get a young quarterback, a young middle linebacker, and build them to be the players we want them to be for New England. We're looking for the next Tom Brady, but not in the 6th round. We're going to find somebody a lot sooner than that. And as far as middle linebacker, we're not going to get Hightower, right off the bat, but it's going to be a guy that we can build into a monster. The only trade that we made throughout the whole offseason here was going to be we sent our 2017 third-round pick to the Texans for Braxton Miller. The organization feels really good about this trade. Braxton Miller is a guy who can return kicks and is pretty good already, even 1 year in as a receiver. So he's definitely somebody that we're going to be working with here in the offseason and during preseason to make sure that he's ready for Week 1 if he's called upon at any time. With the loss of Tom Brady at the end of last season, we definitely needed a quarterback, so we decided to draft Nick Doering, 16th overall in this year's draft. Doering and Garoppolo are both going to split time throughout the first 3 games of the preseason. With a tie against Seattle in preseason week 1 and a loss during overtime to the 49ers, Doering is going to get the start for the entire game for the 4th game to try to determine who's going to be the winner of the starting position for week 1. Despite a blowout loss against Baltimore in the final week of the preseason, 26-45, Doering is going to get the start for the regular season. The coach has given him the nod, and he's going to get to play and start for the New England Patriots here this year. And Braxton Miller, who was involved in that trade with the Texans during the offseason, is also going to get the starting role for the kick and punt returns, and he's going to be our 4th-string wide receiver heading into the season. The only other 2 notable pickups during the draft this year were right guard Garrett Presley, who's not going to get the starting role for this upcoming season. He's going to play a backup role and learn the offense. And middle linebacker Darian Bingham, who we're hoping is going to be the next Hightower. Bingham was picked in the 4th round, so he's kind of a steal for us. So we're hoping he's able to give the productivity of Hightower even at a young age. Moving on to the regular season, after a kind of a poor preseason. In the preseason, we ended up 1-2-1. The one tie in Seattle, overall we had 2 overtime games, and that's really not something we want to do. We want to be able to close out games, especially in the 4th quarter, and we just weren't able to do that this preseason. So we're looking ahead and we're moving on to Miami. We have to go to Miami for the first game of the season. We ended last year against Miami, and if you'll remember, they beat us. It actually didn't have any playoff implications at that time because the Jets had already secured the division, but it's still a team that even though they didn't do very well last year, they're not somebody we're going to look over. They're somebody that we're going to want to beat. We want to win all of our division games, and of course we want to win all of our games in general, but we especially want to win the division games. So this Miami team, even though they, like I said, they had a bad season last season, we're going to prepare for them as though they were the Super Bowl champions last year, especially being the first game of the year with the rookie at the helm at quarterback, and it's definitely going to be a statement game that we're going to have to win.
Today we have two teams who are more than ready to get the season underway. It's the Patriots going up against the Dolphins.
With this being Doering's debut game, all eyes are on him from both the fan standpoint and the coaching staff. Everybody wants to know, can Doering be the next Tom Brady? Can he do what Brady done and continue to make this organization a winning one? Can he continue to find ways to win even throughout the hardest of circumstances? And he done just that in this game against Miami. He completed 12 of 19 attempts for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw 1 interception. It's really not that bad of a debut game for a rookie quarterback. His favorite target, though, throughout this game was Gronkowski, which most people would come to expect out of a rookie. Find the big guy, he's easier to hit, and that's definitely what Doering done during this game. And the defense continued to force turnovers this game just as they had last season in the form of interceptions, especially in the secondary. Cyrus Jones had 2 interceptions, the second-year cornerback out of Alabama.
Entire season, we get into the playoffs, to the Super Bowl. I was really excited. I could barely sleep last night. I can't imagine being a player.
After a big division win in Miami in week number 1, we head to Cincinnati to take on the 0-1 Cincinnati Bengals, who lost their first week's game against the Steelers. But the Bengals are a team that is consistently in the playoffs, and it's definitely a game that we're going to have to be prepared for anything.
Features 2 quarterbacks who will be trying to lead their team to victory. It's the Patriots going up against the Bengals.
Exactly what we were trying to avoid ended up happening in this game. The Bengals came in angry off of their loss against the Steelers and put a whole lot of pressure on the rookie. Doering ended up throwing 4 interceptions and was sacked twice, but he was hurried the majority of the game and wasn't able to accurately make his decisions. However, rookie middle linebacker Bingham did have his first career interception in this game against Andy Dalton.
Got it done, and they feel very good about that victory.
And to make the matter even worse, Malcolm Butler goes down for 6 weeks in this game with a knee cartilage tear. As you know, he's the starting superstar cornerback of the Patriots, so it's definitely a big blow for the team, and we're hoping that no other corners get hurt because if you remember, last season we lost a lot of corners, and that's something we don't want to happen this season. Doering's struggles continued in the Week 3 loss against the Falcons as he threw 4 more interceptions en route to the 28-point blowout loss. He bounced back, however, in Week number 4 against the Buffalo Bills, throwing only 1 interception and throwing 4 touchdowns, on the way to a comfortable 37-20 win against the division rival. The Week 5 loss to the Raiders brought about another injury for the defensive side of the ball. Mingo breaks his collarbone and is out for 7 weeks. And just the following week, Nick Doering goes down for 8 weeks with a torn hamstring in the first quarter of the overtime 30-27 win against the Saints. The third division game of the season in week number 7 against the Dolphins brings about another division win 35-10, but it also injures Dion Lewis for the season. He fractured his forearm and had to be placed on IR immediately after the game. After heading into the bye week at 4-3, the Panthers come into Foxborough and give us a tough game. We end up going into overtime against them, but we get the win 27-24 as Blunt runs for 130 yards and Butler returns from his injury with an interception. Currently, we are tied at 5-3 with the Buffalo Bills for the division lead, with the Jets not far behind at 4-5. And that's going to do it for episode number 7. If you guys haven't already, make sure you check out the new episode of DK's Take where he talks about the draft and the connected franchise and gives some tips on that, as well as episode number 3 of Gibbs' building the franchise with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And be sure to keep an eye out for episode number 8 of this series as we continue to push for the playoffs and the division title in the AFC East.